Hello there everyone, this is I am Mark 3 and welcome to some From the Depths 2.5.1.6, numbers which I do not know the meaning of, but they are apparently significant in some way somehow. Ooh, that one's a bit loud. Lightning hood. Oh, that's a pack cannon, I see. But yeah, welcome back to From the Depths, and today we are going into the campaign mode, in fact. So, let us begin with Fight New Campaign. No, I do not want the tutorial, thank you. And we'll be starting a run on Quest for Netta, or Nita, or whichever you care to pronounce it. Now, if you've seen any of my runs before, I am totally original and a very creative guy, because whenever I do a run on something like this, I get a premise, then I name it after the premise. Question mark, profit, question mark? I don't know. But anyway, yeah. This is From the Depths, Small Fries. Hey, yes, and first time players, no, I'm not going to do that. Okay. Small Fries. So, what is the premise? You might have guessed, but the idea is that you won't be seeing any battleships or dreadnoughts or toothy monstrosities floating through the air with gigantic pack cannons annihilating everything that you see. Now, there's no hard limit on this. Well, I say this is like select hard, but in general, I'm going to be sticking to smaller craft for this one. I suppose. Also ramp up that. Yep. I'm going to use localize just because why the hell not? Probably going to cause me a few issues, but hey, details. Sometime I'll learn to use localized, but hey. I normally do build vehicles with enough storage though, so it shouldn't be too jarring to use that. But yeah, small fries. It's always a bit loud, that. Yes, welcome to Netta. Our little starting fort, our little boat. Well, it's ironic really, considering we actually start as a small fry in this game. We start really small and then we go out and we go murder stuff. Or rather, we're taking the world back from the crazy people that control it. You know, I'd actually like to do that in real life, but life sucks sometimes. Okay. So yeah, in general, my craft are going to be somewhere between the 20 to 50 meter mark. There's probably going to be stuff that's smaller than that as well, getting involved and pitching in. But beyond 50 meters, it's going to be rare, I think. And by the way, 50 meters is entirely arbitrary. I'm not entirely sure how long things will be. I mean, how big is this guy? 37 by 35. So yeah, you're more likely to see like 40 odd meter craft in general. 50 meters at a stretch. 60 meters, I don't know. If I ever feel inclined to build one, but I'm not going to be building super powered dreadnoughts which can just shrug off absolutely everything. I think that's basically what I'm trying to say here. Also, I just want to know what's in the resource zone. 5,000 material, okay. Right, the first thing I'm going to do though is I'm actually going to scrap this fortress as soon as I've built up some more resource, because, full disclosure, this is my second attempt at starting this. I just flat out forgot to record. Yeah, go me. So, oops. So I've actually already built a replacement resource vehicle, which is something like 2/5 the cost of this fortress. It's completely undefended though, so if it does get attacked, it's going to be unable to do pretty much anything. But hey, it's also a good bit smaller as well. But I found it interesting to do, and the idea is just get one of those things and then have it parked on a resource zone, and then manage things from there. But to build it though, load the vehicle. The harvester unit, which is all of course it right now, is like 13 thou to build. So it's actually like half the cost. Let's go ahead and start deleting some stuff off here. Oh yeah, I forgot. Damaged stuff doesn't actually give you stuff back. Oh well. It's always a bit of a slow start to Netto, isn't it? I suppose I'll be right back as soon as I've got some resources and I'm ready to start swapping some stuff about. Okay, we've got enough now. Let's go ahead and load it in. I just scrapped one of the, I keep hitting campaign, no, vehicle. Harvester unit, 480 blocks, 13,000 mats. This is a jet-based harvester unit. So that's all it does right now. And I think I need repair tentacles. I think I got rid of all the repair tentacles on the base as well, so that's not going to help. Let's go ahead and get this stuff sorted. I need a dock, which will grab the harvester unit, yes. And then I need some repair bays, just to sort it out. Misk. Ugh. You can tell it's been a while since I've done this, can't you? I'm feeling a bit sluggish. But yeah, come to us, O mysterious harvester unit. Let us show the players what I would have done in the first part of Small Fries if I had actually had recording running. Which makes me kind of nervous because now I'm wondering if recording is actually running. Yeah. Anyway, this thing doesn't have a refinery, doesn't store anything. It's an RTG powered harvester, which I built and decorated and got ready to roll. It harvests at a good rate, so it's gonna strip out any resource zone it's put in, effectively. But from there, well, it flies around. It can't do anything else much by itself. Though I did actually install an AI on this thing, so it can potentially be refitted for some other work when it gets installed. Though, let's get some more out here. I'd forgotten that large numbers of repair tentacles was something that is quite useful to have. And technically, yeah, I could be skipping this, but I kind of want to show this thing as it comes together. So as you can see, it's got a bunch of containers for storage, AIs in the front here, relatively basic, and the center line is just RTGs and batteries. Then there was a bunch of resource containers around underneath it to further increase resource storage, though the bulk of its storage is from the 6 central containers. I was going to go with like only a couple, but then I thought, you know what, I'm making this into a flying boat basically, so let's go ahead and just do it. Oh good, it's in. Okay. Resource units, you are free. As you can see, it just like drifts up into the air. It is, the RTG power does mean it is entirely self-sustaining. Though that does also account for a good chunk of the cost as well. But yeah, as you can see, it just hovers around in the middle of the resource zone and does its own business. It's even got chairs. Nothing else really exciting to say about this thing. I mean, it's decorated fairly well. It's got repair capability. It's got massive resource storage. I mean, 350,000 materials max. No ammo, no fuel, no nothing. But yeah, well, there is a bit of battery storage, but again, that's not really its specialty, so it's not really meant to supply battery power that much. In fact, 450 out of 900 odds. I think it needs to keep like 60 to 80%. Let's continue with the destruction of the starting fortress, because this is meant to be a replacement for the starting fortress. Del you. Goodbye. And that's 26,000 gone straight into the cavernous storage of this little flying boat that's drifting around up here. Good for you. Good for you, little boat. Ha ha ha. And that's that. We've suddenly freed up a massive chunk of resources to go ahead and get started on building stuff. Though I did say I was going to set resource for it as well. So, your group 1, you want to keep 80% electric power. You don't have any ammo, you don't have fuel. I'm going to leave you on 0 for materials, so that way other units can freely take from you and give to you as well if needed. And then that's going to be it for that. So yeah, 27k. Next objective for the Small Fries is we need some kind of combat vehicles to do nasty things to those that would do nasty things to us. Now, there is one other piece of pre-prep I did for this particular series. Doing this thing was an accident. As I mentioned, I was planning to actually have that as part of the starting video. Oh well. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go and get a new vehicle and bring in the actual thing that I was going to use. I was going to go try and build a dock for it, but I should probably just caps lock it. Okay, so the other thing I've got is in sub-object mode for Small Fries. We've got the 293mm thud gun, which is just what I call it because why the hell not? And what I've wound up with is a 293mm quad-barreled APS. There we go. It needs some finishing, but it's actually not too bad. And I left it in this state deliberately just so that you could see what I've done with it. So if we go in here, we've got another magazine set in there. We've got the local web controller in the middle, and then we've actually got the APS shell for it here as well. So this thing can be tuned for its shell little bits on a per gun basis, and it'll be able to do that. It's got the laser targeters in the sides of it, tucked in, a couple of small sheets to help protect it, and then in the top we've got extra magazines just to increase the size of the turret cap a little bit, and we've also got the recoil mechanism to help accuracy. This thing is 0.2 accurate, so the best it can be without any kind of rail or shell assist. And let's bring up the shell for you really quick, just to find it. There it is. So this is a 293. Right now this is fitted for a HE flak with a timed fuse, so it's very much a lightly armoured hunter. Anything with heavy armour is probably going to shrug these shells off fairly well, but 300 odd meters per second, which is okay. Shell power rating is 10.23. I'm never quite sure what to make of this, but it says this is how many small missile warheads worth this thing does. But yeah, 1 meter. I could have gone belt loaders, but belt loaders, I think the stats need to be changed. Right now, belt loaders are only like twice as effective as a standard loader. So I don't honestly see the point in them right now. Hopefully the stats change. But one of these shells will do a 0.6 armor pierce. It doesn't care about that. 847 kinetic. That's okay. But the 0.6 AP is going to pretty much negate that for most of the time. But it does explosive stuff. 1,400 explosive within 9 meters. And 577 flak within 20 meters. And of course, remember, it's got the entire timed warhead, which is going to be fed by the laser detonators hidden in the turret neck. So that is the weapon system which I have pre-built for this, and it is going to be the basis of my force for the time being, at the very least. It's probably going to last most of the campaign, if I'm honest. It's going to need a bit of retooling whenever it becomes time for different areas, but yeah, the basic turret itself should be pretty good. At least in theory. Fingers crossed. Here's hoping. I just hope I've not jinxed it too much, let's be honest. I'm just going to do this. It's admittedly a slightly vulnerable turret cap though. well, the internal mechanism doesn't have any incorporated armor, so it's a little bit vulnerable in that regard. But the entire turret mechanism costs like 13,000 by itself, so for the same price, roughly, you can get either one of these turrets without any armor on it, or one of these. So that gives you an idea of the rough costs. But yeah, this craft is going to be my first warboat, and it'll start taking the fight to the Deepwater Guard. Let us continue after this little break as I get some more work done on it. Okay, continuing on, this is roughly the shape of the craft I'm thinking of giving to this thing. It might be like a 1 meter wider, a bit longer, that kind of thing. But this is why I said I was just spitballing earlier when I was saying like 30 to 50 meters, that kind of thing. Because this thing is actually over 50 meters already. I didn't quite realize how small 50 was. I thought I was being generous. 56 meters, it's probably going to top out at 60, maybe 70 meters, this craft. Definitely not a juggernaut by any stretch. I'm not sure if it's a destroyer or cruiser class overall. Probably just a destroyer still, even like 70 odd meters long. From the depths, dimensions are weird. I don't know. But yeah, let's continue though. One thing I was thinking of mentioning, really, is the fact that shield generators, if you haven't caught on, during the recent update, shield generators got changed a bit. I'm still a shield generator, sorry, shield projector guy, sorry, shield generators are the new ones. Shield projector is still the kind of thing I want to use. On the bright side, they don't use as much power. On the downside, they take time to charge up. And how quickly they charge is tied to their power and the size of the shield. So a small shield generates power not as quickly. Words. Yeah. Oh dear. So yes, if previous tactics of having the shields turned off and then turning them on when you get into a fight are kind of tricky to do nowadays. Anyway, I'm not going to keep blathering on about that. Let's continue with the build. I just thought I should mention that, even though I'm not ready to actually install the shields yet. Here we go. Work is continuing apace on this unknown craft. I have no idea what to call this darn thing. I must be honest. Anyone that's seen my recent work will probably recognise the style of it a little bit. Yeah, I'm kind of... This kind of like angular style, I think, is what I've finally settled into as what's going to be my quote-unquote style for FTD for the considerable... well, the general future, honestly. Using reinforced wooden decking for general areas on top of the ship, and then this this staggered hull design, which is very angular, so it's got very effective as far as resistance is concerned. This craft in total, I think it's just, yeah, it's just past 20,000 though. I think it's coming along quite nicely, though it's still generally fairly big compared to what I originally envisioned for the series, but hey, plans change. Most people will still laugh at this and go, ha ha ha, what a tiny boat, you can't do anything with that, and it's like, no, this is actually a good size for me. I like boats this size. I actually tend to finish boats of this size. That's a bad thing to say. Please ignore that I said that. Wow, this is something I wasn't really expecting. The resource thing is getting a bit too heavy. Oh, that's yeah, I wasn't expecting that one actually. Let's give it some extra kick, just to help it stay up. Pitch control is fine, but it's actually struggling to maintain its altitude properly, which is why I'm doing this to it. I'm guessing it's because of resources counting towards weight or something. Regardless though, this thing does actually need to be saved again though, so... Save the vehicle, harvest the unit. There we go. Right. Let's get back to the boat. It is coming on quite steadily. Right now, total cost at 23k. As you can see, ammo storage is starting to go in, like 12,800 right now. I might want to do some more, but well, we've got the basic shape going on, and I'm going to add missile weapons to this thing as a support option, just to help it out in general. But honestly, I need to armor the turret. That's something I shouldn't keep putting off. Let's do that. Let's give the turret some armor as the next step for it. I am Mark III, you giant idiot. What are you doing installing a flippin' injector engine of all things? Valid question. Why an injector engine? Well, first off, it's a lot of power in a more compact space. So it's actually... Well, apparently one of the things that happens with recent changes to the inline turbochargers and things was people weren't using the injectors enough. Well, that and the a massive engine was just like it could run without using any fuel basically. So yeah, that's kind of what happened with these guys. Not that I'm complaining, mind you. I mean, it's good to know I was one of the elite minority. As in, before the changes, I was regularly using injector engines. Admittedly, they got eclipsed when I started using steam engines, but the fact is I was using them. But this little baby here is a 3,400 output fuel engine. It's going to be a hefty kick. Should be a great amount because, as I mentioned a little bit ago, shields actually use less power now. I'm going to route the exhaust out the bottom, but this should be able to run a lot of stuff. Though, in the interest of efficiency, I am entirely okay with doing this thing with ACB control as well. I think that's about as low as I'm going to take it, so there's the exhaust there. Let's give it some fuel and fire it up. Resources. Fuel. I'm going to have to turn my attention to refining at some point, since I'm actually installing some fuel systems around the place. Yeah, there we go, 3,400. Now, I actually installed that because I've installed an armoured cap on top of this thing here. But without a power source, I couldn't actually install the shields on it. And I'm going to go with 2 small shields on this guy, actually. Maybe it's a bit nonsensical. But yeah, 2 small shields. And I'm going to make an overlapping shield in front of the actual thing itself. Just so it's got extra chances to deflect, seeing as shields are now like deflection chance based more than anything else. So, let's go ahead. Azimuth, fine. Drop the range, fine. Just need to change the angle slightly. So I'm basing this on the fact that this thing has 2 meter things in front of it. And yes, these laser beams have been going all over the darn place just in front of me the entire time. 5, height. 10 meters should be good. Yeah, 10 meters, fine. I could go with some more width though. 8. Yeah, I mean, that size, it's only strength 1, but it's only using 1.84 power. And if I crank up to strength 10, that's only 184 still. That is pittance compared to a strength 10 shield previously. So, as you can see, that's why a smaller engine is actually viable for this. I'm going to increase the width a little bit further. Again, 9 meter. Yep. So that's this is going to help protect the APS system from anything that comes its way. Nope, I need a minus there. Yep. Okay, got it. There we go. That is the shields for this. And as you can see though, they are charging. So right now they're only at strength 5. So even though they're taking constant power, they're still ramping up, and it's still going to take a while for them to actually hit strength 10. So this is what I meant when I said shields, you can't just turn them off and on again and expect them to be okay. They've got to ramp up first before they'll get that that full thing. But even so, strength 10 is only like 20 to 40% chance to deflect stuff, so I might have to rethink my general armouring strategies. Because this looks good, but it gives the turret free range, but sadly I think the cheese of having the entire barrel assembly hidden behind the armour and then just as it elevates it extends outside the armour is going to be a lot more powerful now. Just because it protects the gun mechanisms better than what's going on here. I'm never going to use it. Completely honest, I'm never going to use it. But it is definitely a thing that is worth consideration. I was going to install a higher efficiency engine, but I forgot they've changed the mechanics a little bit for the, well, I didn't forget. I think this might be the first serious time I've tried to install a higher efficiency engine since the update. And I just spent more time than I care to admit just tinkering around with one. It was equivalent output in to this thing, but unfortunately it was just like it overloaded itself a lot, so yeah. Oh well, let's turn this one back on then. This thing provides a lot of power. $3,300 maxed, yeah. Battery charge 0, doesn't have any. Ramp up and decay. I think I'm going to have to poke around a bit at the other ones a little bit. Also, I need to revise what I've mentioned about shields a little bit as well. Just in case anyone beat me to it. There is still definitely some stuff about shields which can be really power draining if you just crank things up to max carelessly. I mean, these things operating at like 2,500 power each, which is way above what I want. But we get half the bounce chance at strength 4 versus that. But yeah, full size shields, they seem to, no, sorry, they seem to enjoy the full measure of power draw. So yeah, really big shields, definitely still a thing for draining an engine of all of its available resources really, really quickly. So with a size 13, that only takes 200. It seems to multiply a bit when you're getting to the top end of it, if I'm honest. Because cutting just the height in half halved the power draw roughly. So yeah. Strength 4 shields. These guys are strength 10. Let's double check them, make sure they're not actually doing something crazy for power. I don't think they will be, but hey, never know. Yeah, only 200 a piece. Let's drop them to 5s at the very least. Now, as I mentioned, this seems to reduce how quickly they can recharge and recover if they're hit by things. There's also the fact that disruptor shells. Well, this is one of the reasons I've been saying Rex Arius needs a full refit on its weaponry. Just because disruptor shells are so very different, and a lot of the secondary gear for Rex Arius is actually disruptors. Because it's meant to try and cut through shielding. Okay. Yeah, since it's meant to cut through shielding, now it weakens the shielding instead. So that means it needs some general attention. Also, we've already burned through our fuel supply. That's the drawback of a massively engaged injector engine. It burns fuel like there's no tomorrow. There we go. But as you can see, it's just like steadily dropping power as it stands. Unfortunately though, I'm also kind of out of time for this particular part. I meant to try and get into combat, but as usual, this game's building system has run away with me a little bit as I try and find my shields. I should just hit P, shouldn't I? There they are. So yeah, hopefully we'll get into some combat next time, and I hope you guys are enjoying this little visit to From the Depths. I mean, I know it's been quite a while, hasn't it? But part of me is actually very glad there is still room for precision shielding, as I dub it. Like my own tactic of building a more efficient shielding than most people tend to use. I'm glad there's still a place for that in From the Depths. So yeah, this has been From the Depths Small Fries. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all some other time. Yes, indeed. See you all later.